Welcome all my lovely goblins and ghouls of the internet. I am Anyo, your demonic cinephile, and the show is back, y'all. The show is back. My most hated show from, was it 2023? Yeah, 2023. The Mayfair Witches. I hate talking about this show. The review for season 1 is almost done. It's almost done. I keep saying that, but it's true. It is true. Give it like another, being generous here, or 2 or 3 days. It should be out unless YouTube hates all the takes all the clips they put into it. Yeah, but see, if you don't remember what the show is, this is adaptations of Anne Rice's Lies of the Mayfair Witches trilogy. That trilogy of books. The first book is The Witching Hour. Second book is Lasher. Third book is called Tautos, and I just start reading Tautos. Probably should read a chapter today if I can. If you already know about the vampire, Interview the Vampire, I love Anne Rice. I love this world she's created, but I do not like the show. If you want to know why, you can check out the season 1 review when it gets posted. It's gonna be like 3 hours though, so I'll watch it in bursts. Watch it like in quick bursts. But yeah, so this is mostly the new season is mostly adapting the second book, Lasher. I'm not sure that anything from Tautos. I did not have read Tautos, but so far, comparing from everything we got from last season, I'm liking this a little bit better now. I'm liking this a little bit more. Still not great. Still a pretty awful adaptation of the books. And it's not just because it's different from the books. No, no, no. Interview the Vampire is very different from the Vampire Chronicles, but it still kind of feels like the Vampire Chronicles, if you know what I mean. It feels like a fan wanting to create their own unique twists and spins on Anne Rice's novels. The people who work on the Mayfair Witches, I am willing to bet money. I am willing to bet freaking money that the showrunner and the writers downright hate the books. And that is how different it is. It never comes off as a way of a fan wanting to create a fun what if, or let's try to do this instead. It really does feel like these books, I don't like these books. I think they're problematic, so I'm going to change them because AMC wanted me for the show for some reason. And that's what everything about the Mayfair Witches feel like. But yeah, what is this episode about? So the episode picks up like 3 days after season 1. Lasher has finally been born into a human vessel, or human. And we see him very slowly growing throughout the episode. He's like a child, kind of like a toddler when we first see him. Then he's like 6 years old and 10 years old, or you see him as a teenager. And I kind of like this progression. It's not the same from the books. In the book, so yeah, spoilers, full on spoilers. In the book, when Lasher is born, he grows up immediately, like literally immediately. It's like hours or minutes until he is fully reborn from Rowan's baby, and he is like this weird baby man. He's like an adult body, like has an adult figure, the height, but it's like new baby skin, new baby smell. It's just like he's a giant man baby. That's what he becomes. He's a giant man baby. But no, we have this instead for the show where he slowly grows up through the episode, and I like that. It's a decent change, and I like how they kept that last year's memories are fragmented. Like in the book, his memories as a spirit, his memories of when he was first alive are kind of swapping in and out. He can't fully remember who or what he was or what his purpose was. And I'm liking that they're keeping that. Everything else though is kind of iffy. So going back to Alexander Daddario. Alexander Daddario, right? Is that her name right? I feel like I said her name wrong. Whatever. She's back as Rowan, and I'm liking her a little bit more now. Everything else though in the episode, Alexander Daddario and her story as Rowan is very different from the book, because in the book she ran off with Lasher to Europe, and it kind of starts off as consensual because she wants to study him, she wants to know what he is, and then he becomes very abusive as it goes on. Here, though, she is very much acting as Lasher's caretaker, his mother, and she's not really. Sorry, my concentration keeps lapsing. Too many distractions. But yeah, so I am liking a little bit more of what they're doing with Rowan. We see her going to the hospital, trying to figure things out with Lasher, which is book accurate, a little different from the book, but similar. We can see her; she wants to spend more time at the hospital, which awesome. Those are things I wanted in season one, and not this thing with Cyprian, our other main lead, or I guess he was supposed to be. He's very sidetracked this episode. We see him kind of stalking Rowan and Lasher. He wants to figure out like what's going on in the house, but he can't really see her. He can't really get inside because she doesn't trust him anymore. We see him making these, I guess you say, memory logs with this book, so he can get all his memories back if someone wipes his thoughts, which I like that. Kind of practical. I'm not sure what's going to happen in the next coming episodes with how things have turned out, but I like to see the character being kind of smart. What I don't really like is when he goes back to his motel or whatever, and the Talamasca agents are there to sedate him, and they spray this gas in front of him, but it's not like a regular gas. It's like this weird purple mist, and it's like, why need to do that? Why need to do that? It's like it just had to be regular dust. Like what's the purple effect supposed to add? Just to do something unique? To do something special? Does it make his powers away for a little bit? Does it take his soul somewhere? Like why it had to be purple? What was the point of that effect? I don't get it. But he meets back with his boss from the Talamasca, and they want to take Lasher. They want to bring him in, which is book accurate. Talamasca does have an interest in Lasher, so it's kind of nice. Kind of nice. I don't think we're gonna get other characters from the book like Yuri and that one other Talamasca member who dies in the end. Spoilers, but you know what? We're going to see more of the Talamasca. We saw that in the trailer and a behind the scenes look. So maybe we'll get something cool. Maybe we'll get this show's version of Yuri, and hopefully he's an interesting character. One of the new characters this season, though, is Moira Mayfair. So Moira is the older sister to Tessa, who died last season. And Moira is very obviously supposed to be based off Mona from the books. Now, I don't really mind these changes because Mona's story in the books is very, very sexual, and the character's like, oh god, like 14 or 15. It you probably really shouldn't do that in the show. So I'm okay with them aging her up. What I don't like is that the showrunner says that, oh, since she's not exactly like Mona, we decide to name her Moira. Which, why? None of the characters in the show are like their book counterparts. Only one that got close was Carlotta, and then the second closest is Lasher. Cyprian acts nothing like Michael or Aaron. Rowan acts nothing like Rowan from the book at all. At all. So why are you suddenly changing people's... Why are you like, oh, we're going to name her Moira, because she's not exactly Mona. Shut up. I'm sorry, I'm being mean. But yeah, just shut up. If you're gonna stick to it, just stick to it. Just call her Mona. But yeah, because really, Moira is very different from Mona. Now I'm really thinking about it, because they didn't just change her age, change her hair color, she's not redhead, but they change her family relations. Like there's no ancient Eleven. Her parents are different. I don't think she had. No, she didn't have sisters in the book. So yeah, it's another big change right there, because they really changed a lot of the Mayfair structure of the family. And I'm betting. Like I am betting that Moira was not originally in talks to be in season 2. Like I am almost certain that Tessa was supposed to be Mona for season 1. I'm not gonna say why in a second. But Moira, I really do like the actress that got to play her. She doesn't feel like really, she does and doesn't feel like Mona from the book, but I like how mature she feels. I like how she's standing against the Lasher. What I don't really like is that they made her a mind reader, not because of the power. Mind reading is like the basic psychic power in the Anne Rice books. But we'll see how she uses it. But there's this like one little effect when she gets home. She reads her young sister mind, and it's very. They add this effect, kind of like when Rowan uses her powers, but it's like just like a yellow dent growing onto screen. And why? Like, why would you? Why did you like add a special effect on the screen when other the vampires interview the vampire for each other's minds? They don't have that effect. There's nothing dancing on top of the screen. Now you can say that, oh, vampire mind reading is different. Probably it is, but I didn't like it. It looked like someone was pissing on the screen for a second. But yeah, it seems that Cyprian, through the other Talamasca members, want to use Moira to eventually kidnap Lasher and probably sow seeds of doubt in the family, which different in the book, but you know what? If they can make it interesting, they can make it interesting because Mona in the book really wouldn't do that. She loved her family. She was all about the family. In fact, that's one big change I don't think I mentioned in my season 1 review, that the family in the show really just don't like each other. Like, it's a very big family, but they're almost all are mean to each other, antagonistic to each other. You know, like family drama, but in the books, the family was mostly very loving and caring. Yes, it was a big family, there's different types of people, some good, some bad, but most of the family was caring and loving to each other. It just, I'm not sure why this hostility changed. There's no real reason I see than just to be different from the books. Also, they add some change to Moira's power, or they say she has a hard time reading people's thoughts with music, which is I find weird because earlier in the episode they mentioned Lasher loves music, and that is a thing from the book. Lasher and people like Lasher do have a do really love music. They can get distracted and kind of fall into like a spell depending on the song. So I wish they could show that a bit more. But I wonder why they said like, oh, that's Moira's weakness, the music. Like, no, it really should be Lasher's weakness. You can see, you could have done that later in the season. Well, I still don't know what the season's gonna have, but imagine a scene where Lasher is going on the attack and they had to put a song on to drowse them out. That would have been cool. You might see that, but I'm not exactly sure because of this the specific line read. And I do love you get to see the Julian's phonograph, which it has to be his phonograph because they really linger on it for like a good couple seconds, like 2 shots. So hopefully that becomes important because it's pretty important in the book. Just other things that the show did was, I don't know. It was a basic story, but it was fun first open first can't talk. It was a fun first episode. I can't think of the word episode. Things I did do that again. Things I do enjoy though is I like the tone a little bit more from last season. The show feels a lot darker. It feels a lot gothic, a little bit meaner. Like there's a lot of cool gothic shots in this one episode alone. Like the shot of Moira going to Tessa's grave, all the shots of Lasher growing up, even the little things in the hospital. Like where she's talking to the girl with cancer and she cures her. I'm glad they did that because that's the thing a Rowan can do in the book. I don't think she can exactly cure cancer, or she probably can do that with practice. But here they say she can cure cancer, which I like it. I don't exactly like that they say that Lasher gave her these powers because these are her own powers. Yes, Lasher can enhance the power of his witches and vice versa, and they feel like they say like, oh, he gave her these gifts. Like, no, they really should be her own. I don't fully like that because Lasher did give up a lot of his powers to be reborn, but they just kind of went away because he was no longer a spirit. He didn't really pass them on to Rowan or anybody else. Unless it's something from the 3rd book that I don't understand. But there's also just little weird things like in the opening where we see a dream of Lasher. He has his bloody handprints. Unless that's supposed to be like a foreshadowing to something to come. I didn't understand that. And also we have the scene where Lasher is pulling his teeth out when he's like 9 or something. Not probably like 7. And while that is cool and gruesome, I like the effect. It's like, why though? I mean, the showrunner says that, oh, because kids do that. They like wiggle their teeth out. All children just wiggle their teeth out and pull them out like that. I mean, it'd be different. It was to showcase Lasher's sadistic and masochistic side, which he didn't really have in the book. Sadistic, yes, but not masochistic. So maybe that they could be used as fun foreshadowing, but I think they just did it to be creepy. Which, yeah, it's effective, but why? This was going to add for late. And, oh yeah, we got introduced a new character, Sam Larkin. Now, in the book, Larkin was Rowan's co-worker when she lived in San Francisco. I think he was her boss for a while before she like kind of went the ranks up. And in the book, he was kind of like her mentor. He had a thing for her, but it didn't go anywhere. And he was like one of the more, I liked him. I thought he was an interesting character. I think he died off screen. Shouldn't say that. Spoilers. But here though, he's like he's a doctor, but he also kind of has his own lab. He runs like a genetic company or law firm or something like that. And we can see from their talk on the phone that Rowan and him seem to have a connection. Like they seem like they probably dated in the past. And I can see why they're doing this, because one, later in this episode, when the teenage Lasher or young man Lasher tries to kiss Rowan, she firmly shuts it down like, no, I am your mother now. You can do that. You can do that anymore. So we can't really have a love triangle between Cyprian and Rowan, or Cyprian, Rowan, and Lasher. Most because if they do follow the books, Lasher is going to become very sexually violent with Rowan. That's the best way to put it. I should just use the word abuse, but I already said it. And so they're introducing this other guy to be more like her other love interest, which, I don't know, maybe it'll go somewhere interesting. Because I think they killed the whole thing with Sip, because he doesn't interact with her at all in this episode. And then one time they come face to face, she scares him away with lightning. So I'm guessing that relationship been dead in the water. But also, Lark seems to kind of look a lot like Michael in this season. Like Michael from the book. Like he kind of resembles him a bit, minus the red hair. I think. Yeah, Michael did have red hair in the book. Did he? I don't know, they said he was a good Irish lad, so I'm guessing with the red hair. So I'm just like, you're listening to Backlash? You're listening to the Backlash you got from season 1? That's what it does feel like. They are listening to the Backlash from season 1. We got a more Michael-ish character, so mixing with Larkin, but he feels like kind of like Michael. A little bit closer to the book with the Talamasca wine, and we also just like the darker tones and themes. Rowan going to the hospital. It feels like they're trying to backtrack on certain things from season 1, like Rowan being more involved with the hospital, her being more involved with the family. And should I talk about the ending now? I should talk about the ending now. The ending, Lasher, he escapes from the home, which I do like how they show him eating a lot of milk and cheese, which is very similar from the book. The type of creature Lasher is, he needs a lot of milk. He likes it. Does something special to him. But the Lasher goes out of the house. He winds up to this party. He meets this girl, and while he is with her, we see them flirting with each other. There's something special about her. Like he can sense her, he can feel her out. He's smelling her hair, like he's checking for something. And we cut back to the house. He's knocking on the door. Rowan lets him in. He's carrying the girl. She died from a hemorrhage. And later on, we can see a bunch of her blood on his shirt. And for people who haven't figured this out yet, she didn't bleed from her mouth. She didn't bleed from her ears. Like Rowan says she died from hemorrhage, but why is there blood on Lasher's shirt? Why would the blood be on his shirt? You'll We'll figure that out later. We'll figure that out later, especially to keep true to the books. But we see at the end of this, like, one of the last things you see is that she was a Mayfair. Her name was Lucy Mayfair, and Lasher was attracted to her because she was a Mayfair. There is something special about the Mayfair, especially the Mayfair women, that Lasher needs. What it is, we'll find out throughout the season. I'll tell you when time is appropriate. But I like that they keep this factor in the book. I mean, in the show, they haven't fully taken it out. They're probably going to sanitize it, not make it as horrifying as in the novel, but I'm glad they haven't cut it out. And to end this rambles, because I didn't write notes down in order, there is the scene where Rowan gets rid of the body, and in the second novel, there is a scene where Rowan does have to get rid of a body. And while we don't really go into good detail about it, she buries it next to the house, and she buries it. She doesn't use her powers or anything. She just gets the shovel, digs a big hole, she's sweating, get all dirt all over her, pushes the body in, covers it up. It's a big nasty ordeal. In the show, though, when she has to get rid of the body of Lucy, the girl Lasher intentionally killed, she brings her to this lake or marsh. I'm not sure what it exactly is supposed to be. Then she waves her hand, uses her powers to make the body sink. It's a very weird and slightly kind of beautiful scene. And that's exactly what the showrunner wants. She says at the end of the episode, behind the scenes thing, that she wanted to do this thing where people can still see Rowan in a good light. And that is one of... hearing that just says a lot about the show. It says a lot about the show right now, because she wants everyone to like these characters. I mean, they did a good job with what's her name? Carlotta and Cortland, making them complete despicable characters, which they should be. But when it comes to the main character, she's like, we have to make them feel alike. Which, no, because Rowan in the novel, while she was a greatly written character, she did a lot of things that were like, that ain't good. You shouldn't do that. Same thing with Michael. Same thing with Aaron. The characters in the novels are well written. They're great characters, but they're also very flawed characters. I don't know how would the show be different if we fully went in that Rowan probably made a mistake, that keeping Lasher alive was not the right idea, or that when she has to get rid of the body is something very nasty and grueling. It's not like simple, oh, wash the hands and down you go. I mean, heck, you still want her to use her powers. Do something nasty. Show her decaying the body. Like, she's touching it, like, can't think of a other response. Think of it like, what's that character? Shigaraki. She touches the body, starts to decay, turns to dust. I mean, it's not the same as burying the body, but it's still a very nasty effect, showing how far she'll go to protect Lasher, to know what he is, the science of it all. That'd be great. Maybe have Cyprian do a little bit too far, like breaking into the house and trying to stab the baby. Stab the baby. Like I said, I really do like this episode. I found it much more enjoyable than anything from last season. It still has a lot to do to be a good adaptation and a good show in itself, so I'm crossing fingers. I want this to be better. I do want to like it. I'm not suffering for 8 weeks for a show that I hate. So I'm hoping it's good. But what about all of you? Did you like this episode? Did you hate this episode? If you read the books, let me know. I want to hear your opinions. Put it down in the comments down below. And I will see you all next time. This video was supposed to come out earlier this week, but I've been so busy with other stuff. Editing another video. My sickness keeps going down and up, down and up. So I'm glad to get this out when I did before episode 2 came out. So, yeah, I'll see you all for episode 2. Bye-bye. Where's the end button?